In this video, we're going to look at the concept of grouping sheets together within an Excel file. Now, the purpose of grouping sheets together is to save time. Now, you save time because by grouping sheets together, the changes made in one sheet are copied to all of the other sheets within the grouping. So once again, if you've grouped sheets together, changes made to one sheet are copied to all of the sheets that you have grouped together. So we're going to begin by opening up our file. The name of the file is called FIT 1003 Chapter 2 Review. When you look at the actual file, it's made up of a number of sheets. But we're going to concentrate on looking at the sheets named Quarter 1, Quarter 2, Quarter 3, and 4. These are the 4 sheets that we're going to group together. So let's click on the Quarter 1 sheet. And when you look at the Quarter 1 sheet, you can see it's made up of 12 stores with sales information pertaining to the months of January, February, and March. Now, what it's missing is that there's no total showing for those sales in the months of January, February, or March. Furthermore, for the 12 stores, there's no sales totals for those 12 stores. Also, when you look at the title, subtotal, or subtitle, none of those titles are formatted. We click on Quarter 2. We're going to see that it looks very similar to Quarter 1, except that we have sales totals for April, May, and June. But once again, there's no total showing. The title, subtitle has not been formatted. Quarter 3 looks the same. And lastly, Quarter 4, which is showing the months of October, November, December. There's no totals listed. There is no formatting for our titles. That said, what we want to do is fill in the totals for all 4 sheets. And we also want to do some formatting to all 4 sheets. We're going to begin by clicking on Quarter 1. Then we're going to hold down the Shift key and left click on Quarter 4. And what we see is that all of our 4 quarters are now underlined. And furthermore, at the top of the sheet with the name of our file, there's now a designation showing grouped. Now everything is all grouped together, but I'm going to show you another trick in terms of how to ungroup your sheets. You hover over the sheets, right click, and then click on Ungroup. And what you notice is that the 4 quarters are no longer underlined, and at the top here, it's no longer showing as being grouped. So let's go back and let's group our all 4 quarters. And then we're going to perform our operations on those 4 quarters. Left click on Quarter 1. Hold down our Shift key. And left click on Quarter 4. They're all grouped together. It's showing up here. We're going to begin by determining the sales for each of the first 3 months, for January, February, March, and also the total. We're going to begin by clicking here in cell B18. Click on AutoSum. Excel takes a guess, and it determines that we probably want to add from B6 to B17. That is correct. That is the range. Click on the check mark. Come over to our fill handle. Hold down our left mouse and copy that pattern across. Now, of course, here it's a 0. And if we quickly double left click, we will see that the formula or function is trying to sum from E6 to E17, but as of this moment, there's nothing in there. That's why we're coming out with a 0. Next, let's go up into cell E6. And what we're going to determine are the first quarter sales for store 1 through 12. First quarter being January, February, and March. So for store 1, we come over to AutoSum. Excel is going to sum from B6 to D6. Click our check mark. Come over to the fill handle and copy that pattern down to this point right here. If we quickly double left click, it will verify that our formula is correct. Next, let's come up to our title, McKenna Convenience Stores, and we're going to merge and center that information. We're going to highlight from A1 to E1. Click on Merge and Center. And next, we're going to change the cell style. Come over here. Click. And now click on Title. We're going to change it to a title cell style. Let's merge and center quarterly income. For our cell style, heading 1. And lastly, for January and March, merge and center. We're not going to apply a cell style. Let's highlight from A5 to E5. Let's come over to Cell Styles. Let's choose a heading 1. Next, let's come into here, in this cell right here, which is the total of all of our sales for all 12 stores for the first 3 months of the year. We're going to click within that cell, which is cell E18, and we're going to click the yellow paint bucket. We'll just change the color because we want it to stand out. Because our next computation is going to determine the percentage of the total. Now, before we determine our monthly percentage of the total, let's widen the column A. Give ourselves a little bit more space. Come up here, quickly double left click it. So now we have a little bit of room here. We're going to come into cell B19. And what we want to do here is determine the monthly percentage of total. Now we have 3 monthly totals, 1,200, 2,400, 3,600, and our grand total is 7,200. How we're going to do that? Equal sign. Click on our first 1200, which happens to be in cell B18, divided by the 7200, which happens to be in E18. Now the key here is that the 7200 will always be our denominator. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be an absolute value. We don't need it to be changing. So how we make it an absolute value is by clicking up here and then tapping function key F4. By doing that, we now have a $E and a $18, which means that this cell value in E18 is now fixed. It's now an absolute value. It will not change. It will always be our denominator. Click on our check mark. Let's change it, the formatting to percentage. Let's increase the decimal places. Come down to our fill handle and copy that pattern across. Let's double check this last formula. We double check it by quickly double left clicking. And what we see is, once again, we have the value in March, the total March sales, divided by the grand total for the quarter. Grand total for the quarter is in cell E18, but it is an absolute value. It's fixed. That's what those dollar signs mean. D18 divided by $E, $18. Once again, this value here, that 7200, is an absolute value. Let's do a little bit more formatting. We're going to highlight this area right here. All of our revenue numbers, and we're going to format it as accounting. The accounting number format. Click here. Lastly, what we want to do is auto-fit all of our columns. I'm going to highlight from column A all the way over to column E. Come up here where we have our cross and quickly double left click. Everything is now auto fit. Come down to our sheets, right click, and ungroup the sheets. And once again, that's so important. We've done our grouping procedures. We need to next ungroup our sheets. So you come over, hover over the sheets, right click, ungroup. So let's see what's happened here. We have quarter number 1, the one that we was just working on. Quarter number 2, quarter number 3, and quarter number 4. In all cases, all 4 of our sheets that were grouped together now have totals. Also, our percentage of the total has also been calculated, and also our formatting for the titles. Thank you.